Good afternoon, guys. Hope we're all doing well. Today I'll be talking about us at Deputy and DBT. I thought I'd kick us off with a famous quote from one of our senior managers of data engineering that probably encompasses our journey with DBT. So this was a project that was previously quoted before we rolled out DBT. And Andy, who's our superstar data engineer, said, we can knock that out in a sprint, which was kind of the revelation where it all came together for us about the speed we can work at and the sort of output we can have when everything is orchestrated, version controlled, and we have lineage. Cool. So just a little bit about what I'll be talking about today. I'll just touch on life before DBT. Building confidence in our data, moving at pace, the ThoughtSpot rollout, which was a super interesting learning process for us, and then I'll finally touch on Python integration and what's next for us at Deputy. For people that don't know about Deputy, we're workforce management software. We're all about empowering the shift worker, giving them the same tools we have access to as desk workers in our job. So we have countless tools that help us do our job around Slack, communication, the flexibility around our work. What we're trying to do is bring that to the shift workers as well. So I just thought I'd start a little bit about what our life was like before DBT. It's going to be one of those stories that you've heard time and time again where things are never great and then it gets all better and there's a happy ending. But for us, it was literally the chaos of Snowflake tasks. I don't know how many people in the room are probably going through this or have gone through this at some point. But essentially, even though we had a data warehouse in place, what was interesting to me when I took over was just how much reliance we had on Snowflake tasks, the difficulty of tracing, trying to understand when there were downstream or upstream changes, the increased costs that we were getting due to it. There were complexity and scheduling conflicts as some tasks ran into each other. No one was really across what someone else was working on. And it was like really difficult for us as a team to manage dependencies. We also had overcomplicated security measures, which kind of sounds like a good thing in theory because you want to try and control as much as possible. But in practice, it's actually the opposite. Because we never really understood what we should and shouldn't be locking down, everything kind of moved slowly, and even then we had instances where there would be data leakages or someone would see data sets within the company that they shouldn't have access to. We had lack of adaptability and just overall over-engineering. What that led to was a lot of rework and ad hoc queries. So you can probably kind of feel the pain better than most, being data teams yourselves. There's a lot of data integrity issues that stemmed from that. We had regression bug risk, maintaining documentation was really difficult, and there was always impact on downstream processes. So overall, the team was overworked, burnt out, underappreciated. The second part is what we did about it. So I've been at Deputy now a year and a half, and one of the biggest successes for us as a team has been just building confidence in the data, making sure the business has data sets they can rely on, that they can trust. The first thing we did is we had discussions with domain experts. None of this is kind of new or understood. We just did the same basic playbook, and we executed on it. We were disciplined to really bed down the domain experts, get them into a room, make sure that our internal customers understood what they need and how data can support them. So essentially mapping out what are the data sets that you're looking at as part of your department and the ownership that you have for the company. The second thing we did is we made clear metric owners. So who actually owns the data once it's delivered? Whether that's marketing, whether that's revenue, whether that's sales cycles, conversion, all of that stuff, we had clear metric owners. What that helped us do is deliver accountability from the business that was just as invested as us in getting it right. The third thing we did is we introduced data governance meetings. We got a few of the SLT members into a room as well. We elevated the importance of getting our data right. We implemented practices, and we made sure we got sign-off on this is what we think a metric looks like, and this is how we define it. And the last thing we did is we were really open about the communication of data-related issues and how we were going to fix it. So we really got the business involved with our journey. We over-communicated in some cases. We got everyone excited. We ensured that anytime there was a win, we celebrated it. And we went out. We over-posted in Slack, in our data team channels, just making sure that people understood why having data-driven insights was so important to us, moving us away from guessing and gut insights that we were working on. After we built the confidence, it actually allowed us to work a lot faster, and our pace increased at Deputy. And the reason for that is we had lineage. So anytime there was a metric that was questioned, the team wasn't spending hours, sometimes even days, digging through tasks or digging through downstream impacts. We were able to get to it pretty quickly, and a lot of that is thanks to DBT. We assessed potential upstream issues as well when we were making changes and reviewing dependencies. The reiterations that we had to do on our data sets were completed much faster. We didn't have to reinvent the wheel every time we had a new requirement. And the last thing we did is we stabilized the core. When our foundational elements of the data are robust, reliable, and consistent, we achieve timely decision-making, analytics, and reporting. And that's what we were able to do. So having a great data model was amazing for us. We had reliability and trust and confidence. But then we kind of got to the next problem for us, which is how do we open it up to the business? We've got all great data sets. We've got amazing sort of insights that we're getting from it as a data team, but there's still a heavy reliance on the data team being involved. And the visualization tool we had in place was very data-driven, very data team-driven, I should say. So what that meant is a lot of the insights that the business was getting was based on the pace that we could work at as a data team, without them allowing them to have the data journeys on their own, meeting them in ways where they can consume their own data the way they see fit. And that's where we came across a tool called ThoughtSpot Rollout, the ThoughtSpot, and then we did the rollout for it. So essentially, ThoughtSpot for us was opening up DBT to the rest of the company. So letting them get their own insights, letting them visualize the way they see fit, and essentially maximizing the effectiveness of our data model. It was important to have the business be able to pick up and explore our dashboards, or ThoughtSpot calls it live boards. I've been called out on that a few times. But essentially, it was important for us that they could service themselves so we could focus on what we needed. The integrations with DBT, we had someone in our team, one of our data analysts, who actually wrote an integration script that converts the YAML file out of DBT into ThoughtSpot's native language TML. And now this is an automated process. So anytime we're putting column descriptions, we're defining our metrics within DBT, it's an automated process to also get that updated in our ThoughtSpot layer. So as the business is exploring possibilities and trying to create their own dashboards and data sets, they're able to get that automatically because of the work we've put into DBT. And the last thing is the learnings we had from Tableau. Because of DBT and the way we had done it, we hadn't gone deep into Tableau's native formulas or trying to build too much insight and integration within Tableau. Because of that, it was a fairly straightforward process for us to transition away from Tableau and into ThoughtSpot. the usage metrics kind of allowed us to see what was important and which dashboards were key for us as we focused on them. So ThoughtSpot, as an example, Tableau usage was around 16% of the company. Since we've got dbt in place and we've opened up ThoughtSpot, that sits around 73%. So as an uptake for a company, we've got pretty much the majority of the company utilizing the ThoughtSpot dashboards that we are making available. And a lot of that is because they're able to serve themselves. The other thing I really want to touch on is the Python integration that we've got in dbt. Being a SaaS, it's sometimes necessary for us to create custom logic. So sometimes we need that flexibility and freedom that SQL may not necessarily provide for us, especially in our revenue reporting engine. A lot of it is models that interact with each other. And we've really enjoyed having a tool like dbt in place where we can mix and match SQL and Python and write more complex logic for our models. We've got the usage of custom macros. So we encapsulate and reuse complex logic across multiple dbt models. So our core Python scripts we're able to reuse, which has been fantastic. And we've got advanced analytics. So we're able to implement advanced analytics, especially with machine learning and AI being the talk of the town at the moment. We've been able to actually leverage a lot of the models that the community is building and build on top of that. So what's next for us? Well, Deputy and the data team are kind of growing into their next phase. So we're growing up just like the company is. As we chase bigger and better things as a company, expanding in the America region, as a team, we'll also be exploring different avenues. One of the first things we're going to be doing in the coming 6 months is around customer reporting. So that's actually reporting within the product itself, opening it up for our end customers and letting them kind of have the same experience we have in-house, where they can build their own dashboards, they can get their own reporting. We're a scheduling and timesheet company, so it's important for us to give our customers the same power that we have in-house. It's one of the biggest asks from our customers. We built some custom reporting in-house, but dbt is really going to allow us to elevate that because we're going to add governance and other things around that. And the last thing, which I'm personally really excited about, is something that has been one of the biggest opportunities for us as a company, and that's data as a service. So we have some of the most comprehensive data on shift worker patterns in the world. And that was obvious when COVID happened. A lot of the insights that you would have seen through PwC, the insights we would have seen coming out of the government, especially in Melbourne, a lot of that data was backed by Deputy itself about how the hospitality sectors were doing, how the retail sectors were doing, how people were clocking in for work, what people were coming back to work. So a lot of the insights you've been seeing recently in the news where aged customers are coming back into the workforce, a lot of that is driven by Deputy. And we're really excited to be able to open that up to everyone in the world in an aggregated way. Thank you.